Someone knew exactly when I was home alone. I've gone back and forth for years about whether I should share this story. There's nothing dramatic about it. No chase, no confrontation. But that's exactly why it still bothers me. This happened a few years ago when I was living alone and working night shifts. I rented a small one-bedroom apartment in what everyone considered a safe, quiet neighborhood. The building was old but well-maintained. There were no security guards, and the only camera was at the main entrance. My work schedule changed constantly. Some nights I came home before midnight. Other nights, it was closer to 3 in the morning. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Later, I realized that someone else was paying very close attention. The first things I noticed were easy to ignore. Every now and then, I'd find advertising flyers under my door. That wasn't unusual. People left flyers in the building all the time. What stood out was when they appeared. They only showed up on nights when I came home very late. On days off, when I stayed inside, my hallway was always empty. I told myself it was a coincidence. A few weeks later, I started noticing small things with my door. In the mornings, as I was leaving for work, the lock sometimes felt different. Not broken, not forced, just slightly turned, like someone had tested it and stopped. I blamed exhaustion. One night around 2 a.m., I came home and noticed the front door to the building was slightly open. It was supposed to lock automatically. I stood there for a few seconds, listening. The hallway was silent. I went inside and locked my apartment door behind me. It happened again the next night, and the night after that. I became more aware of every sound in the building. Old buildings make noise, pipes, footsteps, doors. But some of the sounds felt intentional. Slow footsteps, careful movement, like someone walking with a purpose. One weekend, I stayed home. I didn't leave the apartment all day. That night, around 10 p.m., I was sitting in the kitchen when I heard footsteps on the stairs. They stopped directly in front of my door. I froze. There was no knocking, no phone sound, no shifting weight. Just someone standing there. It lasted long enough for me to feel my heartbeat in my ears. Then the footsteps slowly turned and went back down the stairs. The next day, I casually asked my downstairs neighbor if he'd noticed anything strange lately. He said he occasionally saw a man wearing a dark jacket coming up to our floor late at night, but he never saw him enter any apartment. After that, I started double locking my door and leaving the hallway light on at all times. About a week later, the final incident happened. I was in bed, almost asleep, when I heard a quiet, metallic sound. Then another. I realized someone was inserting a key into my lock. The movements were slow and careful, like whoever it was didn't want to make noise. The key turned just slightly. I sat up and turned on the light. The sound stopped immediately. I didn't approach the door. I didn't ask who was there. I just listened as footsteps moved quickly down the stairs. The next morning, I changed the locks. A few days later, I moved out. What still bothers me isn't that someone tried to get into my apartment. It's how accurately they knew when I was alone.